All right, guys, we are back. Welcome. My name is DK. Here to break down the 7-game DFS slate on Wednesday. Hopefully, you guys had a good night last night. Also, upgraded the camera. If you guys watched the Stochastic stream today, should have been a little bit higher quality. It should be better quality now. I've had this for a while too, but I finally got an adapter. So let me know if you guys can notice a difference there. Just curious. Yeah, so before we get into the breakdown, the sponsor to today's video, that's going to be BetMGM. Guys, BetMGM is still running this really, really nice offer for new users. Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. North Carolina just went live as well. I tweeted out some links last week. You guys are curious to get in on some deals there. But yeah, if you guys are not signed up, make sure to take advantage of it. Get on as many of these books as possible. And take advantage of these sign-up offers. And if you do, if you click the link and deposit, it does help support the channel a ton. And if you guys are looking for more content, as always, you can check out my Patreon linked down below. But yeah, recapping the slate tonight, I mean, I'm kind of in moose piss, to be honest. Like, just a tilting. It's such a tilting game we play, man. The people that fell asleep at the wheel, Sam Hauser, get rewarded. We got the lineup that, we got the starting lineup for Boston that Pritchard was starting, and then after lock, they switch it back to Hauser. Just so frustrating. Yeah, Dylan Brooks, giga foul trouble. Jabari Smith had an awful first half. He salvaged in the second half, but that was super frustrating. And then, yeah, Men Thompson, I mean, I originally had Pritchard there, but then once Men Thompson was starting, I swapped to him. He was 80%. I don't know how the faders knew, but they knew, so. Just a tilting day. I had just a tilting day all around, man. I had Lowry fantasy score as one of my first tacos. I needed like one more point from him, fantasy point. He played 6 minutes in the second half, and that was it. Massive blow. So, yeah, just one of those days I want to forget. But yeah, so let's recap everything. Hope you guys had a better night. And all right, let's talk about it. So Brooklyn, Orlando's first game here. Pretty unappealing game, to be honest. Brooklyn basically fully healthy. Got Cam Johnson back, as well as a super low total game. There's not a ton here that I'm interested in. I think Claxton will probably be my preferred option here on Brooklyn. In a competitive game, you should see 30-plus minutes from him. This game was a massive blow-up, but 34, 34, 33, 33 minutes. The Magic usually have a traditional big out there at all times, whether it be Carter Jr. or Mo Wagner. So I think Claxton's reasonable at that price point. Bridges has been pretty bad. I mean, a decent game last game, but, sub 7K is playable. Cam Thomas, first couple games back, 30 and 31 minutes. He does have a pretty high ceiling. He's making shots, but also we have seen the floor from Cam Thomas. Dennis Schroeder kind of just indifferent on him. I think he still plays, 30-ish minutes or so. Cam Johnson back, that kind of hurts a lot of guys in this rotation, like Dorian Finney-Smith, Lonnie Walker, DSJ, guys like that. So, there are some playable options for Brooklyn, but definitely no standouts. On the Orlando side, kind of the same thing. Like I said, ugly game. Paulo feels priced right. Same with Franz. Carter Jr., 5'6", indifferent on him. All the guards are healthy with Suggs, Anthony, Fultz. They're going to ride the hot hand there. If you guys want to try to take a shot at one of those guys in tournaments, be my guest. Jonathan Isaac is 3.5K. I think he's honestly my favorite play on Orlando. 18, 16, and 19 minutes over the last few games. He is a good point per minute player. Still pretty cheap. So I think Isaac is probably my favorite option on Orlando, Toronto, and Detroit. So Toronto, we got my boy Boucher out. RJ Barrett is out. Quickly and Gary Trent Jr. are both questionable. Can we talk about that last game too? How on earth did the Raptors, with that team, almost beat Denver on the road? That is, sometimes you just look at a game like that, just makes absolutely no sense. But we could have a lot of out here, depending if Quickly and Gary Trent Jr. are out. You got to love some dick. No, but seriously, they would be very, very shorthanded. Olynyk is 7K. I think, he will probably play around 30 minutes in a good matchup here. Again, Brown, Dick, Agbachi, like Freeman, Liberty, those guys would all benefit a good amount if Quickly and Gary Trent Jr. are both out. Bruce Brown started at the point last game. He played 38 minutes, so clearly not on a limit. Yeah, he would probably be my preferred option on Toronto if both Quickly and Trent are out. We mentioned Dick, right? 39 and 36 minutes over the last couple games. He would get a pretty big bump if those two guys are out. Ochai Agbachi is 4.2, played 29 minutes for the most recent game, would be a reasonable option. Then we got to talk about Jonte Porter. Right now, I'm going to play the backup 5 to Kelly Olynyk with Boucher out. Played 22 minutes in the most recent game. Did play a few minutes alongside Olynyk as well. I think he's interesting as a punt play. Freeman Liberty was giga chalk last slate. Only played 12 minutes. he would look better, obviously. I would feel better about his minutes, too, if both Trent and Quickly are out. DeWar is another guy that I would feel a little bit better. Both those guys are out, too. So, yeah, keep an eye on the news there. This is an early game, so we'll get that before lock. If Quickly and Trent are in, then, I do like Quickly at 8-5. He's playing huge minutes in competitive games. It is a good matchup, so I would like him, and that would obviously make deals with the guys we talked about a bit riskier. Now, for Detroit, you got to start Thompson at 5.6 is questionable. Keep an eye on that. If he misses, you should get Fettuccine Alfredo in the starting lineup. He played 21 first-half minutes in the most recent game. Did deal with a little bit of foul trouble, but Fettuccine would stand out as a good point per dollar play here if Asar Thompson is out. And then, unfortunately, I think that has some interest in the other Pistons, too. I like the matchup. Kay, Duren, Ivy, Stewart, I think all look pretty good. Duren's just taking years off my life whenever I play this guy. He gets, massive foul trouble, ejected, but still reasonable price point for him. Kate Cunningham, 8.6K, reasonable price point as well. Only played 32 minutes in the most recent game. You probably are going to get mid-30s minutes from him in a competitive game. Off the bench, Wiseman right now is backing up Duren. He is a good point per minute player. He's a pretty similar play to what Jonte Porter is, in my opinion. You got Quentin Grimes at 3.7, played 21 minutes in the most recent game. Playable. Sasser as well, 3.3, like close to min price, 18, 20 minutes of the last couple games. You do have a couple of these like punt options that are, if you need someone super, super cheap, some guys you can use for salary relief for Detroit. Chicago, Indiana. The Chicago side, I think, looks pretty good here. Up-tempo game against the Pacers. They got just destroyed last time out, but Vooch, DeRozan, Kobe White, Ayo, Caruso. I think like all the main guys, all the starters look pretty good. In a competitive game, I think you're probably going to get mid-30s minutes from Vooch. DeRozan, I think, is pretty safe. He should play high 30s minutes in a competitive game. White, Isumu should play close to 40 minutes. Caruso's minutes have ticked up in competitive games. Again, this game was a massive blowout. This game dealt some foul trouble, but 36 minutes here, 34 minutes here, 34 minutes here. 5.5K reasonable price point. Drummond is usually someone I get to if he starts against like a bigger team. I don't think they need him here against the Indiana Pacers. Not a ton else. Torrey Craig's playable for value, but the minutes have not been amazing on him. Let's talk about the Pacers. So Pacers back-to-back. Halliburton, 9.4 has been disappointing. Had another kind of subpar game tonight. At least the minutes have been solid on him, but again, the production's been up and down. I think Siakam, probably the easiest guy to get to. 7.2K reasonable price point, nice eligibility. Turner's going to play the 5, probably play high 20s, low 30s minutes. I think he's interesting for tournaments. Naismith benefits with Mathurin out for the season. He should play 30-plus minutes at a nice price point. Jalen Smith, I've been mentioning him a lot as contrarian play. He's been playing well, a good point per minute guy, playing the backup 5. So I once again have interest in Jalen Smith for GPPs. That's probably it, though, for the Pacers. So Denver, Miami, tougher spot here for the Nuggets, but Jokic, Jamal Murray, the main guys I'm looking to here would be those two. Jokic had an insane game last game, almost 100 fantasy points. Jamal Murray, 8.4K, reasonable price point. He's gone for 50-plus now in 4 of the last 5 games. So I think it's mainly those two for Denver. That's about it. I don't think I'm going to get to MPJ or Gordon or KCP. So let's talk about Miami. Miami, you got Tyler Hero is out, Kevin Love is out, and Jimmy Butler is probable. So Miami's running pretty tight rotation recently. Jimmy, Bam, and Rozier should all play mid-30s minutes. 40, 32, 35 minutes of last 2 games for Rozier. Bam, Jimmy, and they should play big minutes. So I think any of those main guys look like decent options. 8-6 for Jimmy, 8-5 for Bam, and 7-1 for Rozier. Duncan, in competitive game, you're probably going to get low to mid-30s minutes. He's viable for tournaments. If he's knocking out shots, he has a nice ceiling. Jaime Jaquez, the minutes have been somewhere in the mid to high 20s. More just kind of indifferent on him. Caleb Martin is 4.8. He should see probably around 30 minutes. Reasonable value play, right? Jovic at 4.4. The minutes have been a little bit up and down on him, but he's interesting for tournaments because Jovic is not a bad point per minute player. And if you get a game where he gets extended, like against Oklahoma City, a couple games, he only plays 30 minutes, like he could smash that salary. All right, let's move on to Charlotte and Memphis. Just some disgusting games on the slate, but basically all the guys that have been out are still out. Trey Mann is questionable though. Mann news is pretty important because that would you get more minutes for Micic, and then you get Grant Williams in the starting lineup. If Mann is in, it would make kind of everyone in the rotation a bit riskier. Miles Bridges is at 8.8. He had an awful first half. I know because I had his over fantasy score that day. I think he had like 8 fantasy points at halftime. I was like, come on, man. Come on. But he's still viable for tournaments. He's going to play around 40 minutes competitive game. Brandon Miller at 7.3 should continue to play, mid to high 30s minutes, reasonable option. Micic at 6.2. I would like him more if Mann sits. If Man plays, I think Micic should be a little bit overpriced. Man himself, if he is in and not on a limit, I think it would be an interesting tournament play. I think I would slightly prefer him to Micic, but would be close with those two. Nick Richards, probably sees around 30 minutes in a competitive game. He would look a little bit better, too, if Man does not play. Grant Williams would probably shift back to the bench if Man gets rolled in. But if Man gets rolled out, Williams should start and play 30-plus minutes. I mean, the Hornets are just running a super tight rotation. Just this team sucks. They just can't put up any points. Davis Bertans at 4-9 has actually been leading the team in usage since returning from break. Minutes have been pretty solid on him, too. 26, 26, 32, 28, 26 minutes over the last 5 games. But the price point has risen to a point where he feels priced about right. I just can't stomach taking a shot at Nick Smith or JT Thor. That is just disgusting stuff. Now for Memphis, keep a close eye on who exactly is available. They only had 9 guys available last game, and I talked about the stochastic stream. I was pretty high in Goodwin for tournaments. I just like this team in general for GPPs. I feel like they're all going under-owned. Goodwin started. He had a huge game. I don't think the stats yet. They're not updated yet, but I think if the same guys available again, they only have 9 guys, then all these Memphis guys look pretty good. Aldama and Gigi and Laravia and Goodwin. Drew had a good game off the bench. Kennard had a solid game. Jemison started off insanely hot. Gabriel would even be playable, even though Gordon Gabriel signed with a Puerto Rican team but still played. This Memphis team you just don't know what's happening. So just keep an eye on the news. If they end up having 10, 11 guys active, then this team's not going to look as appealing. But if they have 9 guys like they did tonight, then they're going to look pretty good. Cleveland, it really just comes down to Donovan Mitchell for me. If Donovan Mitchell's in, there's really not a ton I like here. So I think a lot of these guys are overpriced. If Donovan Mitchell's out, then we can get to some of these Cavs. Garland, LeVert would have to play huge minutes. Garland 36 minutes last time out. LeVert started, played 33 minutes. So those 2 guys would be decent options if there is no Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen should continue to play his mid to high 30s minutes, played 38 minutes in the most recent game. Had a bit of a letdown game for the amount of minutes that he played. Oro, Niang, Merrill, these guys would be playable, again, if Mitchell is out. But if Mitchell is in, I think everyone in Cleveland's overpriced. And then I think the only 2 guys would look to would be Mitchell and Jared Allen. And we'd have to keep an eye on the status of Mitchell to see if he's on a limit. I don't think, he's been out since February 28th, so he could be on a limit. Keep a close eye on that one. New Orleans, it's just the same thing as I always say with this team when they're fully healthy. They're just a boring team to talk about. Zion, Ingram, CJ, all playable. I think if I had to pick one of the big 3, it would be Zion at 8.3K. The team has been limiting the minutes on JV. You've been seeing some minutes at a 5 for Zion, which really does boost his floor plus ceiling. 45, 55, and 48 fantasy points over the last 3 games. JV minutes have been down on him. If you think you get the game where he plays mid-20s minutes, you can take a shot on him for tournaments. Nance has started over him a couple times recently, 27, 29 minutes for the last couple games. I think he's a little bit interesting at 3.6. Murphy, Herb Jones are just secondary plays. Those are usually guys that get to when 1 or 2 of the big 3 are out. And finally, Golden State and Dallas. So as I talk about DFS, it can be a tilting game. I was so high. I was high on Chris Paul both nights, but I played him here against the Spurs. He went for 35, which is fine, but not amazing. I didn't play him here. Same matchup, 45. It's just come on, man, right? Come on. Once again, I like Chris Paul. Without Steph Curry, should play low 30s minutes. I think he stands out as a pretty good play. Kuminga, the minutes have not been amazing on him. 30 and 31 over the last couple games, but he gets a usage bump without Steph Curry. And a lot of these guys look similar, Draymond and Clay and Podziemski and Wiggins are all playable options, but no standouts there. Moody, the minutes were not great on him. You have Gary Payton back as well. Jackson Davis, they basically booted both Looney and Sarge from the rotation. So you get a game where Draymond gets in foul trouble, like last game, Jackson Davis benefits. He played 26 minutes. I don't love the price point on him, but he is still playable off the bench for the reason of we have not been seeing any Sarge or Looney. And finally, Dallas. The price of Luka a little bit, but he still feels underpriced for the level of production, for what he's been doing recently. So I still expect Luka to be very, very popular. Even at this price point, he looks good. Kyrie more of your contrarian pivot. He's been struggling a bit of late just because Luka's been doing everything, but that doesn't mean Kyrie can't have a good game. The minutes to tick down to Washington, it's a 3-headed monster rotation of the centers. Gafford's price is up. I know he's played well, but $5K, a little bit tough to go there. There's just not much here. Hardaway, the price has come down on a lot of secondary plays, but again, the minutes not been great in Hardaway. Derek Jones Jr. minutes not been great. Josh Green minutes have been And they're kind of just rotating a lot of these guys and throwing 15 to 20 minutes everyone. So it makes them all pretty unappealing. All right, so that's going to wrap up the video, guys. As always, if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you all in the next video.